Hello, everybody. Hey, before we get started, can I get everyone to make sure your doors are shut and your other devices are turned off? I'm going to cover quite a bit of information in a short period of time, so I need your full attention. Also, everyone on this call will receive a copy of this training and the material at the end of the broadcast. My name is Chris Duffield, and I'm an account executive for Newline Mortgage. And for about the next 15 or so minutes, we're going to talk about conventional high balance loans. But also, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment and ask for your business. As an AE, I'm paid commission, so the best compliment you can give me is to send me a loan. If you find this training useful or learn something new, please send me a loan on any product. Newline does offer training on some great FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA products right now. Our pricing is good on those products. I also have training on many other subjects. At the end of this call, I will give you the link to my blog, and you are welcome to join my blog. It's private, not public, but once you are a member, you have access to all kinds of free and easy training that will help you learn some underwriting guidelines and some of the mortgage process on the fly. It's designed to be quick, easy, free, and I'm very subject specific. So my trainings are only 15 to 30 minutes tops, and it covers a very specific subject. And then there's a lot of trainings covering all the different subjects that we have. I just think it's tough to sit through maybe a 3-4 hour training and then go out and try and remember and apply all of that information. I think it's great to learn on the fly and then have a resource that you can keep going back to. Anyway, I will show you that at the end of the call. So, high balance loans, conventional. What we're going to do today is just talk about the guidelines specific to high balance loans. I'm not going over all of the conventional underwriting guidelines. I do have information on that on my blog that you can check out as well. Plus, if you have any questions, you can give me a call or an email. Before we get into some of the specific guidelines, I want to take a moment and talk about these first two bullet points. You know, these high balance loans are also high profile, is what I call them. Our investors underwrite, they audit 100% of these files. Typically, investors will only audit high LTV loans, or they'll do it randomly, or, you know, if there's an early payment default or early payoff or something, that might trigger an audit as well. So overall, conventional loans are kind of randomly audited, but on these high balance loans, they are 100% audited, and it feels like they're looking for reasons to decline the loan. They look at every piece of data, and they look at the underwriting guidelines. If anything is missing or any kind of violations, you know, it's just an immediate buyback. And these are huge loans to buy back. They're big investments. Just the sheer size of the loan itself makes it a high-profile loan for us and for our lenders. So with all that said, we do require 2 of our underwriters to review your file. And you need to allow additional time for that. And I've put on here 24 hours. Really, it depends on how well processed the loan is. You know, underwriters are expensive and busy, and if we've got an incomplete file, we're probably not going to have 2 underwriters take a look at it. We'll have the 1 underwriter take a look at it, issue the conditions, vet the file, make sure it's saleable, and then we'll get the 2nd underwriter involved. And, you know, that could take an additional 24 to 48 hours, you know, maybe even longer, depending on how many conditions we have and what's going on. If it's well processed, then we'll try and underwrite it concurrently. So have the 2nd underwriter kind of review it with the 1st underwriter, and just have the kind of the 1 underwrite. So really that time in underwriting does depend on how well processed the loan is. Also, these high balance, high profile loans, again, because of the size of the loan amount and which creates large exposure for everybody, there's a lot less leniency when we're stacking layers of risk. So we're just not as lenient on these files. We're not going to go higher on the DTI and things like that. We're going to pretty much stick to our guidelines. And you know, that back to the time thing too, one thing to keep in mind overall is these loans will take a little bit longer to get through. They're just tougher. I've already described the underwriting process and how can that, you know, take a little bit more time. You've got the appraisal process as well. These properties are a little more complex, and on most or all of your loans, you're going to have a field review or a desk review required, maybe even a second appraisal. So you need to allow more time for the property analysis. So I would recommend 45, 60-day locks. You know, that'll cover all the time needed to get the loan through underwriting, you know, address maybe some of these layers of risk if we're working with a tougher loan, give us time to work out solutions and things like that, and then the appraisal process. They're tougher loans. You've just got more complex borrowers, you know, most of the time, not all of the time. And we just need a little bit longer. And yeah, especially since it's going to be scrutinized a lot more. Okay, let's get in and talk about some of the actual underwriting guidelines. So for reserves on an owner-occupied property, we need 2 months PITI. For a second home, we need 2 months PITI for all the properties that the borrower owns. And for an investment property, we need 6 months PITI for the subject investment property, and then we'll need 2 months PITI for all the other properties that the borrower owns. Okay? And, you know, again, probably no leniency on that. I don't see us backing down on the reserve requirements, you know, at all, just because of the high balance loan. Our max DTI is 50%. I don't see us exceeding the 50%. Stick pretty close to that. You can only use DU for your high balance conventional loans. Field review of appraisal if the loan amount exceeds $625,000 and the LTV is greater than 80%. You will need a field review appraisal, and that all appraisals, conventional appraisals, do need to be ordered through our AMC. If the value is over $1 million and the LTV is greater than 75, you're going to need a field review as well. Okay. Now, gift funds are actually still allowed on a high balance loans after the borrower's initial 5% investment. So you can have gifts, but the borrower does have to have a minimum of 5%. You know, and I should expand on that because, yeah, actually, okay, nope, never mind. Minimum investment is 5%. There will be no gifts allowed, though, for non-owner and second homes. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, guys. So that's for purchase loans only. Okay? And then your cash out. So if you're doing a cash out loan, there's actually no dollar limit to the amount of cash out. If the property was listed in the last 6 months, the max LTV is 70%. And on a cash out, if your LTV exceeds 80%, MI might have limitations. So you want to do your research on your mortgage insurance, definitely for cash out loans, but I would say for purchase and rate and terms as well. And then I provided you with our matrix for your max LTV and your FICO requirements. You'll notice that on a single family purchase, we will require a 700 FICO score up to a 90% loan to value and a 660 FICO score up to 75% loan to value. So 700 up to 90, 660 up to 75. All right, and then really, lastly, these are available for our 10, 15, 20, and 30-year fixed rates. There's a 1% hit to price. And the appraisal costs start around $600. So don't forget that, these high balance loans, they're a little more complex. The appraisals are, and so the appraisals are a little bit more expensive. The appraisal costs do vary per county, so if you would like to email me with your county, I can give you the specific costs, and I can give you costs for those desk and field reviews if you need them for your area as well. So that's it. I mean, there's not a lot. All the rest of your underwriting guidelines are the same as normal conventional loans. You just want to allow more time. Know that these files are going to be scrutinized heavily. You definitely want to send the file in without the appraisal and let us underwrite it first before you go through the time and expense of an appraisal. Know that you're going to need reserves and you're going to need to meet that DTI, and we're probably not going to waiver on those. So, and then your LTV and your FICO requirements are a lot different, than a normal conventional loan. So those are your biggest differences. That's it. My name is Chris Duffield. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Here's my blog if you want to jot this down. If you go here and create a WordPress account. So I do not have my blog public. It's private. You have to be a member to get in and review the trainings. So sign up for a WordPress account. Give me 24 hours to accept it. And you can access all my trainings 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.